Okay, so it's a bit of a puzzle because I know the person, student, but I can't tell you the history because she didn't send it to me. So I have to just tell little pieces as we go along. So we fill in a few of the gaps. So they give some support around what's happening around this. But I'm not so bad that you couldn't come to this yourself from these factors. Getting the experience of being able to walk into this, it's a skill. Like if I hadn't done thousands of charts, tens of thousands of charts, consultations, talking deeply to people, I wouldn't have this instinct for walking in, oh, it probably is like this. It takes time, but you have to capture it. Each person's chart you get, you've learned a few more things, you've added a few more experiential confirmations, and it grows. So even though we're seeing difficulties to the moon and to family, we can see that her ability to be the counseling astrologer and be able to help people using astrology is very high. But knowing she was into real estate and into business, you could see how she could work to help make things better for other people, how to fix someplace up to make it sell properly or do what. You can see how she could do that very easily. And that would be a forte for her. But her Saturn does imply some restraint or some restriction or some inhibition about relationships. I may never get what I want, or I better accept this, or there's a tendency to be with an age difference, or backing up the husband, have to back up the husband more than doing her own thing, or there's just some caution here that separates, like it would be a challenge to see, you just get a concern about it. You see, there's an inhibition from that, and possible an over idealism, a dreaminess about the relationship, but on practical terms, a harshness coming to how she feels. To try and express herself, to try and talk. I was only trying to say this. I was only trying to do this. I didn't mean that. And if she wasn't with someone with similar intelligence or similar these, there would be battles around those type of expressions. But still, she has the mind of a writer, the mind of ideas, the mind of this is. It's so funny. There's a shift. There's these two sides. The light. So all this good energy all over on the setting side, and the T-square all these squares in the opposition all balanced to the other side of the chart. So it's almost like the half of the chart and the other half of the bowl, or where the moon side of it is, all the rising side sort of almost conspires against, but there's this good side that happens within it. Anyways. Okay. With the outer planets, when you see them, you don't see them so much by sign. Not in the, you see them more the presence in the house. Uranus is in her 4th house. She has Cancer on the IC. She's motivated by security. She's motivated by mom, motivated by family. She's motivated to take care of her moon. She's motivated deeply by the needs of her feelings and her family, even if they're not supportive of her. Probably the more unsupportive they are, the more she would feel she has to fix it or help it. So there's a strong point there, but the Uranus implies there's unconventionality, there's instability, there's a shock, there's always instability coming from this point of domestic security. What's exactly stable? What's secure? So the moon being the past, there's the need for the security, and there's the shocks coming up from it. So you can see the worry from the Uranus to the Mercury about home, about where I'm living, about what I'm doing, that's there. So essentially her ability to sell or to do business and to make something good and sell it is fine. To see what she has for herself, she has all those needs, but there's also an insecurity, something shocking, something unstable, something different. She has to live a little differently than just the normal expectations. So that's the 4th house of your security. It's also where you're motivated. So you're motivated by family to have to take care of mom, kids, being mom, take care of all these things. It motivates her. Well, if I got the kids, I got to make sure they're living good enough. I got to make sure there's nothing. I can't just sit and wait for other people to take care of things. I got to make sure they're taken care of. So you can see the motivation in that, this 6th house, 5th, 4th combination. But there's need to do it independently or to get some freedom out of this at some point. Interesting. It's more an anxiety than but it's there. The sense of, how do I get free of this? Or I'm afraid of it breaking up. I'm afraid of what could happen to the kids. So there's a worry side of it. So if someone doesn't appreciate her ideas, it's going to affect her motivation, and she's going to feel I better not say anything, but I just keep it to myself. I keep it like a hobby. Okay, now we looked at Neptune, but Neptune, the dream, the idealism, with it is conjunct the Mercury, the mind, in the 7th house of relationships. So Saturn's there, there's the difficulty in the difficulties are in the relationship, but the ability to dream and think it's still good, or to make it better, or it will get better, we'll change it, it will change for the better. That's there too. That's that Neptune. There's a gullibility or a dreamness, or something's not as it seems. Some codependencies can come up around a relationship. So between the dream of what's beautiful and shared and what's difficult and having to deal with, they're both factors that they're affecting the relationship, affecting how she relates. So I guess it would be fair to say she grew up in Canada, but from a European cultural base that was very restrictive about girls, or conservative, and very fixed in their way of things. And she had the dreams that weren't that, and lived with that duality. You know, it's not, lots of people have these things, but it's her uniqueness. We're just tuning into this and starting to see into this. So with the Neptune, you see there's some dream or some puzzle around the partnership, and some restrictions around it to the Saturn. Okay. Now, then we take a look at Pluto, which we talked at. Pluto in the 5th, the fear or the confrontation, the power struggles around being a kid, being inconveniencing the mother and family, being a girl. At the same time, with all that Libra, she's very feminine, very girly, but she would have to control a lot of it. And there would be controls over what's right or wrong around kids, what's being done, what has to be done, and controlling factors. So when she grew up to play, she wouldn't have been encouraged to have any hobbies or be able to play. You have this talented person that just need a little encouragement, could have done almost anything, but wasn't encouraged to do so. And would figure out a way of making money, doing some good things that would get her out of home and out on her own to take care of things. Most likely with this setting chart, it'd be who you align with. Aligning with what's the dream, the Neptune, and what's the difficulty, what do you have to put up with in relationships. Anything would be probably better than the home one came out of. But would she say that? No, she'd try and keep it pleasant, try and keep it nice. So, okay. The last things we talked on the IC, the motivated by the moon, motivated by mom and the moon, the strong sensitivity. Like, she may have had it difficult, but she would have felt sorry because her mom would have had it just as difficult. There would have been harshnesses around that. So the anchor to the family, even though the moon has all these difficult aspects, it's effective. That the Cancer rules the IC. It's a profoundly motivation. The family motivates her deeply, positively and negatively. Profoundly deep influence. She takes everything in from that. She's not want to be blamed for that. She's going to want to work or be helpful so things don't get worse. She's going to want to make it better. That's the increasing darkness. Okay. So once she's motivated by something around family, around home, about security, about where to live, about what needs to be done, she's got the Aries ascendant. She's going to go out and project it. She's going to go out and do it. Once she starts projecting and starts acting with that ascendant, ruled by Mars, which is non-afflicted, she knows what to do. She can make things happen. She can I can fix that. I can do that. She can take care of it. She can go do things. Not going to get supported for it, but she's affected by it to fix the problems, to go do them. Once she starts projecting and doing things, things flow very well. If she's looking for support, it doesn't always come in. But the place where it's dark, she knows she would try to work to fix it, but she wouldn't necessarily give up on it. It's hard to say what this is. You don't know if it was oppressive family. It was oppressive family in one way or another. We don't know if someone was drinking, if parents split up, if something was harsh. I think there was cultural problems, that she grew up in another culture, but she became more Canadian as she grew up. It's a typical story in Canada. The parents are from the old country, the kids aren't. They're want to be Canadian. So there is this contrast. But the Aries rising, that's impulsive, courageous, impatient. I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. I can do anything. I'll try and do that. And her Mars will back it up. She's fixing it. She's improving it. She's doing things. So she has very good energy, work ethic energy. And this difficulties that she's had, they can make her pathetically weak at times or seeming hopeless at times, but they can also make her incredibly strong in the face of great adversity. Huh. That moon in Taurus has staying power. Not likely to give up. Okay. So her midheaven, Capricorn. She has natural houses, right? Aries first house, Taurus, second house, Gemini, third house, Cancer, fourth. And they go around in the sign. There's each one's in that sign. So the career, the work, her achievement she wants, she feels inhibited. She feels inhibited about what she can do, about the role she has in life. But she wants respect. She wants to work. She wants to be responsible. She wants to hold things together. It's not her strongest point, but the need to get respect from work or for career is there. Where she wants to respect, but the more she would work, she wants to respect. Where's Saturn? It's in the seventh house. She would work for the partner. She would work to make the family things together, and she just expects some respect for it. But whether the partner would work as much, flexible issue. When the partner was as ambitious, that would work as hard as her. If she did, it would be an invincible team. Okay, but the seventh house we talked a lot about because of the Mercury, Venus, Neptune, and the Sun, and the Libra on the descendant, the need to be appreciated and talked to, communicated nicely. Anyone's nice to her. When she used to come to classes, she was in student class. She came to classes. Usually she'd bring coffee and cookies or donuts or Timbits and bring them for the whole class when she came in. She'd always have something to give. So we got used to it coming all the time. You know, it's I remember I was going on my fasting diets, and she'd be bringing all these tempting things in. Everybody's eating them all in front of me, and I go, "Oh, do I hold on to it or not?" Anyways, that's one of the things that happened around her studying. But the setting chart, see, the challenge with the setting chart, and especially the seventh house accentuation, is there's a need to be related. The tendency is there's a tendency to get married and relate to just that person and get isolated in that marriage and give up your friends and give up everyone else so that you're just in the marriage, and then you get isolated in the marriage and having no cultural support. You're meant to just fit into just what the husband would expect or what the partner would expect without being able to go beyond it. So she might overcommit to that and then be isolated from the culture and the support she needs. So you can be pretty sure as she came into astrology, it was fitting the Mercury, Neptune, the Venus, the appreciation to be able to think, to share ideas. Wow, incredible. We can be pretty sure it wasn't that incredible to her family. She wouldn't talk about it to her family. They would have been more confronted by it.